Well, it's about that time for another lens review. In this video, I'm about to review the Nikon 50mm Z f1.8 S lens. I'm in Napa Valley, California, wine country. We're about to take this lens out for a little spin. Sample images, you name it, we'll go through this lens thoroughly. Let's rock and roll. What's good, guys? This is Vahagraphy. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. In this video, I'm going to review the 50mm 1.8 SZ lens. Like I said earlier, I'm in Napa Valley, California, wine country. I'm gonna take this lens out for a little spin. We're gonna do some sample images. We'll do some video clips with this lens, take it out and put it through its paces. And I'll share with you guys what I think at the end of this video right here. I picked this lens up not too long ago, probably about 2 months ago, I would say. I was eyeing this lens. I heard really good things about this prime lens for mirrorless cameras, Z6, Z7, and I wanted a 50mm focal length. So I picked it up actually used. There's not too many of these online right now, but I got lucky. I picked mine up for $350 US. They sell for about $600 brand new plus tax. So I figured, $350. I found it on Craigslist, a very cool guy. Met up with him and I offered $350, and why not? Save some money on the deal. Like I said, it sells for $600 brand new. And there's another more expensive 50mm on the market for Nikon Z mirrorless cameras. The 50mm S 1.2 lens. That one cost $2,100. So you figure with taxes, $2,100, you figure another $2,300 versus what I paid for, almost $350. I had to jump on it because I heard that this lens right here, the 50mm S 1.8, very sharp. So I had a trip out here in Napa, and I haven't been to wine country in a while. It's been about over 14 years since I visited this area, and I said, you know what, why not? So I'm sitting here in my hotel room and about to get going. We have a couple of wine tours in wineries. We'll be doing some wine tasting. And you know what? I'll take this lens out and we'll give it a shot, guys. We'll take some sample images. I'll show you the images we shoot. I'll also be doing some video clips. Like I said, I shot a couple of shots testing this lens out when I purchased it. However, you know what? It doesn't do its justice. I have to go out. I have to shoot actual stuff, environment, beautiful scenery. So I'm looking forward to really using this lens on this trip in Napa. I'm very excited to do a little bit of video work with this lens as well. We'll do some video clips like I always do, mount it on a Nikon Z6 and see how it does, how sharp it is and stuff like that. So a little bit about this lens right here. It takes 62mm filters. The lens is not too heavy actually. It's not too big. It fits really well on a Nikon Z6. It has a big, huge focus ring right in front here. The only button switch on the lens is the auto and manual switch right on the side here. And like I said, it's got a really nice, huge focus ring right in front here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to really shooting with this lens, and what a perfect, beautiful location Napa would be to test it out. What do you guys think? Let's go. So to get the ball rolling, guys, let's start out with some in-detail specs of this lens like I always do. Let's get it going. Let's start the review with the specs. Let's go. For as long as I've been doing photography, I've always loved having a 50mm in my camera bag. It comes in handy. We call it the Nifty 50. With the launch of Nikon Mirrorless in 2018 with the Z6 and Z7 cameras, this lens launched, along with a whole host of other Nikon Z lenses. The size, weight, and width of this lens is very similar to the 35mm Z lens as well. I've always had sharpness issues shooting with my older 50mm on a DSLR, like the 1.4D and the 1.4G lens. However, this Z lens, the image wide open, is not soft at all. Very surprisingly, at 1.8 wide open, the image is not soft, and it's actually pretty sharp. I've had other photographers and viewers of my channel actually comment about this lens, that it has Leica characteristics. And when I heard that, I had to check it out for myself. So I went ahead and bought one. Yes, this was a later purchase in my roadmap of Z lenses, and I've owned it for about 1 month. I haven't barely got a chance to shoot with it, honestly. I was waiting for this review to go ahead and do just that for you guys. So let's have some fun. Alright guys, welcome back. So like I said before, there's a more expensive big brother, the 51.2 S lens. That's a lot more money. You know, we're talking 4 times more money, almost 4 times more. You know, how much better is the 51.2 lens? Well, it's faster, obviously, 1.8 versus 1.2. I haven't used the 1.2 lens and I haven't tested it out yet. But since I have my hands on the 1.8S 50mm Z lens, you know, I'm pretty excited and stoked to take some sample images with this guy. So right now I am shooting this video clip with the 24-70 kit lens, which I love and admire. I love this lens that I'm shooting this clip on right now with the Nikon Z6. Right now I'm probably at around 50mm. Not exactly, but probably around 50-55mm right now shooting this video clip. Let's do a video test right now. Let's mount this guy onto that right now and let's just compare what we see. Video clips, I will not touch the settings. Actually, right now, since this is a 24-70 f4 kit lens, I'm shooting it at f4. I will mount this right now and keep it at f4. And then we'll stop up the aperture. We'll do it at 1.8. We'll see how much more background blur we get with this lens on at 1.8 versus the f4 kit lens that we have on right now. So let's go. Let's do a video test right now before we get out and shoot the beautiful imagery. Let's get this test out of the way. Let's go. I'll mount it right now. All right, I just mounted that lens on right now, the 50mm Z 1.8S lens. How close was I? Was I at around 50mm with the 24-70? I don't know. We'll just have to see later. But right now, like I said, I didn't touch any settings. I left everything the same, and I even set it at f4. So just to kind of see the differences of lenses that we have on this clip right now. So right now we're shooting this clip with a 51.8 at f4. So I'm just curious to see how much more background blur we're gonna have at 1.8 and then f2, f2.8. So let's do the adjustments right now. Let's shoot this clip wide open. First clip, I won't set, I won't adjust any ISO levels. I'm at ISO 800, but obviously if I go 1.8 right now, it's gonna be blown out. But anyway, I won't adjust the ISO for now. I just want to see how much more light we get in at 1.8. So let's make the adjustments. All right, 1.8 without changing the ISO. So yeah, I am, overexposed, but I wanted you guys to see how much more light you can get with the 1.8 lens versus an f4. So imagine 1.2, imagine 1.2. So let's just see how sharp it is at 1.8. Let me correct the exposure of this video clip and dial down the ISO a little bit. All right guys, so we're at 1.8 with the 50mm ZS lens. I adjusted the ISO, dropped it down to about 160 ISO, just so we don't be overexposed. So this is a 1.8. So I'm wide open right now shooting this video clip. Is it still sharp? How sharp is it? Now let's do this right now. Let's do a close focus test real quick and check out the background blur. Is that focusing? About probably a foot away. Obviously, the 50Z 1.2 S lens is 3 or 4 times more money. Those fast glass, they're expensive, probably amazing lens, and yeah, I'm assuming. All right, 2.8. Set it at 2.8, raise the ISO just a tad to compensate the light, the exposure, so 2.8 right now. All right, f8. This is f8 at ISO 2000. f8 at ISO 2000. Rock and roll. This is a side-by-side comparison of both lenses, the 24-70 and the 50mm lens we're reviewing. And right off the bat, I noticed that just a tiny bit of sharpness around the eyes, both shot at f4. And on this next comparison, I have the 50mm shot wide open on one side, and on the right side, I have it at f4, so you guys can see the sharpness and the background blur difference. You can see the 50mm at 1.8 separates the subject and background nicely. Alright guys, let's see how smooth it focuses from one thing to another. Okay, back to my glasses, back to the iPad, glasses, let's do the light stand, the background, something contrasty I guess, background of the light stand, the tripod, light stand. Yeah, pretty good. All right, on to the fun stuff. Time to get out of that hotel room and just rock this city. Napa Valley, located in California. We took Highway 29. This is Highway 29 right here. All through the vineyards and the wineries. What an amazing drive, guys. According to Wikipedia, Napa Valley is located in Napa County in California, wine country. Napa Valley is considered one of the premier wine regions in the world. Records of commercial wine production in the region date back to the 19th centuries. This beautiful, magical place is located about 400 miles north of Los Angeles. Napa consists of a few smaller cities within the valley. So first step on this lens review, we do a little wine tasting in St. Helena at Hall Wines, a beautiful winery that produces good tasting wine. What's up guys, rock and roll. We're about to taste our first wines. Dude, oh my God, I wish I had a steak right here. Bust out the 50mm right now and start doing some sample images for you guys. Rock and roll. The weather was nice, company was great, and it was just a perfect setting. So we got to taste some delicious wine. And I said, let's start my lens review shots. This winery has some cool artistic pieces on the floor outside. Very modern and contemporary. These first set of sample images were shot at wide open f8 and f16 of the vineyard and Hall Wines. Here's one shot wide open at 1.8. I'll go ahead and zoom in to the wood so you could see the detail wide open. Here's one of the art pieces I was talking about. By the way guys, if you want to reference what aperture I'm shooting this lens at, just go ahead and look at the top left corner. Right here at this red farm tractor, I'm going to zoom in a little closer so you could see it at 1.8 and a little closer to the name. Look how sharp. Quick little side note about wine tasting in Napa. Plan your day accordingly. Once you hit up a winery, you have a good time. And if you want to hit up a few places throughout the day, I suggest you guys plan your day and spend your time wisely. Oh yeah, and be mindful of transportation. Try to take rideshare as much as possible if you're going to be drinking. We were kind of getting hungry now, and we stopped by this amazing place with delicious food called Farmstead off 29. The food here was rockin'. I'm telling you, farm fresh ingredients. Take a few shots by this Ford truck, classic truck, see how it comes out. Napa is a photographer's dream. I mean, there's so much to shoot here. There's so much to photograph, so much to do. Here's a previous image crop so you could see the detail at 1.8. What I was saying was there's so much to photograph. However, the downside of that is when you're drinking wine and having a good time, you kind of don't want to take pictures. Take a look at this winery. Perfect place to try this guy out right here. Perfect place to try the 50mm 1.8 S. Want to try it out here? Right here? That's rock and roll. So after we get a quick bite to eat, we drove over to Castello di Amorosa in Calistoga. Yeah, this place was cool, kind of medieval, and the castle and, you know, all that stuff. They even have animals in the property. We saw a few animals, we took some pictures. Here's one. I got this guy with the 50mm 1.8 doing video. Check this out. My daughter had a great time. She loved the animals, and I had to get to work and take some sample images. This image is heavily cropped of the previous image, and I even did one more. I even went in more so you could see the sharpness. By the way, guys, side note about these sample images, they're unedited RAW files, basically straight from the camera. I did not touch them. I shot RAW that day, so what you're seeing is what the camera's capturing straight out of camera. Here's one shot with a 50mm lens at 5.6. Then I opened it up to 1.8 and shot a horizontal shot. When you visit this area, it feels like you're just in another world. If you're used to city life, you come here, you relax, and it's just a different type of atmosphere. People are very friendly, nice. Of course, like I said, the food is amazing. You'll have a great time. Bring your camera. Here's a sample of shooting towards the sun so you could see the flare. So our last stop today is downtown Calistoga. What I'm gonna do here is show you some sample images, but what I'm also gonna do is do some video clips with this lens so you could actually see you can use this for video out and about. So I'm shooting video here, this interesting bicycle with flowers. Here's a sample shot. Look at this vertical shot. I'm going to zoom in right here to the flower pot and just look at the detail at wide open. This is shot wide open with available light. Same thing with this old rusted wagon from yesteryear. Zoomed in, look at the detail of the wheels. So doing video is a joy. I love the background blur, and you can get some really killer results. And like I said, you're not paying thousands of dollars for this 50mm. You know, we got hungry again, wanted to drink some wine. We sat down, Calistoga Inn, got a bite to eat, drank, of course, some wine, and just chit-chatted a little bit. I also did video clips, of course. There's my precious girl again. I wanted you to see the color and the background blur. So all in all, guys, it was well worth it. I was gonna take this trip, and I said, you know what? Let me do a review. I was planning the review of the 50, and I said, let's do it. And this was the perfect opportunity to do just that. And even though I was drinking some wine and having a good time, this 50mm focused very well. You'll have no problem locking focus with the 50 even after drinking a few bottles of wine. Like this picture right here. I'm pretty buzzed. Rock and roll. All right, what did you guys think? What did you guys think of Napa? Beautiful place, guys. If you're ever in California, in the Bay Area, Northern California, you have to check out wine country, guys. You have to check out wine country. It's beautiful, guys. Had a great time here. Anyway, guys, if you're thinking about getting this lens right here, it's not too expensive, which I love. It's sharp. This lens is killer sharp. I'm just blown away by the image quality, the sharpness that this lens produces at the price point. It's a no-brainer, right, guys? You got to get this lens, guys. If 50mm focal length, it's perfect for, you know, street photography, portraits. I shoot with an 85, you know, when I'm doing portraits. 50mm focal length will work when you're doing semi kind of wider portraits. It's a good walk-around lens at weddings for second shooters, you know, candidates, low light performance, 1.8. You know, bust up the ISO, dark church ceremonies, you name it. So it's an all-purpose 50mm lens. And another thing I want to add, usually at 1.8, 50mm, a lot of nifty 50s out there on older DSLRs weren't as sharp, I noticed. A lot of 50mm Nikons and Canons, but this lens really blows me away wide open. Corner to corner sharpness, you name it, in the bokeh, the background blur, the colors it produces. You know, it's an awesome 50mm lens, and I recommend this lens to all Nikon Z shooters. Yeah, the 2470 has a 50mm focal length. And just in case you're thinking, well, I already have that zoom lens, I don't really need a 50mm. Night and day, guys. Night and day, because like I said, look at the stuff you can shoot at 1.8 that you can't with that kit lens at f4. You know, sometimes you're limited. You know, sometimes you need more light in your sensor. So like I said, I got mine for 350 and I'm pretty excited. And you know, I couldn't be happier with my decision on this lens. So if you already have the 2470, get this one too. Put it in your camera bag. 1.8 comes in handy, guys, and it's sharp. It's sharp. All right, guys, what did you think of my review? If you like reviews like this and you want more, and if this is your first time on Vahagraphy, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel. This is a channel where I talk all things photography. You know, lens reviews like this one, cameras, you know, the business side of photography, business photography tutorials, you name it. Check out my videos, see what other videos I've produced. And if you like it, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. The more subscribers we have, the channel picks up, it grows, the better content I can produce for you guys. Go ahead and subscribe and like these videos. All right, guys, again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you have this lens, if you want to get one, if this review helped out in the decision of getting this lens, I would love to read it. I would love to check it out. All right, guys, thank you for watching. This is Vahagraphy. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer, and we'll see you on the next video. Rock and roll.